Hey, welcome back to Milton Daily Homes. Chuck here. And if you're coming to town this weekend, or actually we run them 7 days a week, there's a tour of Milton Homes just over there. We've got a buyer class happening in a couple weeks on November 29th. Lots of fun stuff planned. So this morning I attended a CMHC Housing Outlook conference, and it's actually some of the most researched, best economists in Canada that are actually putting their heads together and saying what's going to happen with real estate. And all I can tell you is that the information is very contrary to what you hear in a lot of the news media. So it's very interesting. I was actually surprised at how positive it was. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put together some of the best slides from that presentation. I'll send it out to you. I don't know when they're going to deliver it to us. It'll take me a couple days to put it together, but I think it'll be a good factual based set of information that you'll find really helpful. And we did one last year and it got great response. So anyhow, today we have 10 listings. And so the first one up is 278 Bustle Crescent. It's a 3-bedroom. It's $439. It's probably about 1,800 square feet. Potential maybe to widen the driveway on this one. And inside, whenever you see something like this, it's not the door to Narnia. It's actually just a place where I look at it and say it looks like you don't have enough storage in the rest of the kitchen. So a couple things that I would have changed in here. I would have taken this out. All of the things on top here never look good in real estate photos. Unfortunately, they just don't. But I like the backsplash here. I like the cabinet color. You could definitely work with that. The family room's a little bit small. I mean, what do you have here? You've got a love seat that really overlooks the fireplace and the TV. So I don't know if that's the best furniture configuration. I figure if you put the TV up here, you can maybe even have an L-shaped couch, but it's hardwood floor. And you've got this front room. Window coverings, in my opinion, are sort of way too heavy for the space. And you've got more of a modern carpet with a lot of traditional some kind of finishes. So a little bit of staging here I think would have gone a long way. And I hate the word staging. Anyone who knows me knows I detest that word because it implies fake or something like that. Home enhancement is the term we use because it's really about making the home look its best. It's about taking the stuff that's already there and simplifying and doing the best you can with what you have. Maybe with some small additions, maybe some pillows here and there, towels, candles, some things that'll just sort of keep things in the flow. I don't know if I would have led with this front shot. That's another thing that I'm really curious about. If you want, you can email me. What do you think about shots that are non-traditional, not front of the house? The front of the house is the second shot in here. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? I think it's different. It's unusual. I don't know if it's always the best. We've got one on Ferguson here at 464.9. And so this one is a Greensburg. It's about 1,800 square feet, hardwood floors. It's got the 4th bedroom compared to the previous one, but it's also like 25,000 higher. There's a lot of competition in these models, and we even see there's the one on Watson, and just we've seen a lot of stuff happening with these homes that pushes them. We reviewed one earlier this week for 350 that's actually the same, or sorry, 450 that's around the same size. So it's a great looking home. I think it's clean, simple. Might still be a little high, and that's unfortunate because there was a time when these absolutely would go for this price. Lancaster's 469. It's 1,820 square feet. 9-foot ceilings on this model make a huge difference. You can look it up. It's a Mattamy Poddington model. And you've got 3 bedrooms upstairs plus a laundry, and you've got the walkout balcony here. The finished basement's the thing that's given these guys a shot. Now, there was a really beautiful one that sold up in the 490s probably 2 months ago. So they do hit that. They got to be gorgeous to get up there. So 469, I could see it go either way. Tough competition, but there are some stats to back up the pricing. Savaline is 469. Look what else you get for 469. You get a larger home. Okay, so it's 2,047 square feet. So on the other side of 2,000, yes, you have a staggered garage where you really can only park one car here, not necessarily here if there's a sidewalk. But it's a double garage. Any way you slice it, it's better than a single car garage. And so moving the garage forward opens up the floor plan. It's actually a pretty nice floor plan. So that's your main floor, where you've got one big room here, plus the kitchen and then you've got, there you go. So dining room, family, open concept kitchen over there. They've got some pendant lights in the kitchen, which is great. Backsplash you could probably work with. It almost has that kind of glass or the look that it almost changes color depending on how the light hits it. But you can work with this. You can work with the elements here. It's the same fundamental things we talk about. Is you can't change the location or the size of the box. That's where the real value is. If they don't have hardwood and you want to put it in, it's simple. If you want to change the cabinet colors in the kitchen, there are ways to refinish those. So those are all things to think about as you're going through lists like this. It's a different mind shift, and the advantage that you have once you make that shift is that there's some buyers that can never see past what's there, and so their window of opportunity is a lot smaller. So Posbu is $495. It's around 1,900 square feet or so. Modern decor. The 9-foot ceilings are nice on this floor, but I mean, we've seen this model start to sort of drift down a little bit. Some good competition. And you still got to put the fence in. There's no air conditioning. You got to put that in. Window coverings, all the rest. $495, I think, will be tricky just based on what else is out there. Kendall is about 1,935 square feet. It's a Heathwood home, so you know there's a lot of built-in upgrading. Granite counters, hardwood usually, just to say the least. It's got a really nice floor plan. 505. We're starting to see it's more common to see homes for this size, maybe not as nice as this one, even underneath the 5 as we just talked about there. The Royal Fern is a perfect example there on Savaline. So Walsh is 572.9. 46-foot lot, which at the time was sort of the middle. There were 36s and 56s. Now 46 is basically more than Mattamy even makes anymore. It's a Scotswood's 2,350 square feet. Now before I get into this home, I've got one that I think looks just as nice that's coming out for a lot less than this one, and so stay tuned for that. It's on Trudeau, so we'll review it when we go through. Nice high window here. One of the first things you see, and it's a great first impression. I like the style and the angles and everything with these photos. They're just very dark though, so I don't know what's going on, if that's a different color hood fan. There's a lot of stuff on the countertops that probably could have been taken out, but you've got some good upgraded granite counters, some nice looking hardwood floors. That's a classic color that is going to be in style now and beyond. And a bit of, I don't know if that's a faux brick or what it is, but either way I think it looks terrific. So it's got a lot of very positive elements in here. Now what's interesting is that the whole backyard looks like it's concrete, aggregate, whatever you want to call it. I don't know if that's going to be a selling feature. I think some people are going to want some yard space. Here's the other thing that's kind of weird. Aggregate concrete throughout backyard, so that means all over, and automated sprinkler system. So I don't know, because usually you think sprinkler for grass. Is it the sprinklers in the front? I don't know, but I don't know why you'd need to water just concrete. Ezard is 574.9, and when you look at the layout of this home, really the similar sized homes sold on Bonin for like, you know, mid 530s with a finished basement. These guys, they're nicely upgraded. They've got some nice little finishes. The basement looks good. But as we've continued to kind of progress through the October and November months, this is based on a couple recent sales. Might be a little bit high, but it's a very nice home. And Valley View is at 649. And so it's a back split model. So this is actually the lower level. This has the walkout to the backyard. You've got some moldings here. And so the front door is actually here. You come down the hall and you've got a living dining combined over here. And then across the hall is the kitchen. And some people try to open these walls up, which is definitely possible. And so the kitchen doesn't really directly open up to anything, but you can see that the cupboards have been replaced, and a lot of work done in the bathroom. So it's an old Milton home that has a tremendous amount of work done. You've got an in-ground pool behind. The yard is a 60 by 140. Valley View is definitely a very popular street. You've got, because it's a split level, you've got a little crawl space underneath, and so you can that's what you see from the front door. So you've got kind of a living dining over on this side here, and then you've got a kitchen and everything else. So that's sort of how this one's all set up. It's a great looking house. Now I look at this. Now there's one on the street that just sold for, let's just call it low fives. Okay, I can't say what it sold for, but it was the exact same floor plan as this, but it needed a lot of work. So I went in and said it probably needs between $60,000 and $80,000, but it's sold in the low fives. So you look at that and you say, is it better to go over to that home and land at 600 and have to deal with the inconvenience of doing all the work, or do you pay for it already done at 650? So depending on how you feel about that argument is that's going to determine your perception of the value of this place. And the same models, I believe, still for sale on the other side of Valley View, backing onto Ontario, and it's actually in pretty good shape. No pool or anything like that, but it's got the same size yard. Now Henderson is at 1.25, and it's about 5 acres. Apparently they ripped the house down. And so we don't deal a lot with the development of vacant land in these episodes, but what I found fascinating, I always like to look into this stuff. So if you look where Henderson is, it's actually a little road that basically comes off of 25. It's just north of the 407, and so there's a little tuckaway road here. And if I zoom in just a little bit, the actual parcel of land is probably something like this. I think there's one smaller piece over here, and then you've got another piece of land over there. So wedge-shaped piece, you do have access to 25. You have exposure. Now, when I was doing my research last year, the region of Charlton bought a little stretch of land right here, just a small smidgen. And I can't say what they paid. Let's just call it between $25,000 and $50,000 for a little. I don't know how wide it is, 5 or 10 feet. I don't know if that's for a road allowance or what it is. But you definitely want to look into the future plans for this area, and based on that, you've got some hydro lines, you've got some things happening through here that you just want to be careful of in terms of future value. You look at it the other way, it is very close to the 407, and the fact that 25 is going to continue to be a major artery. And if you think about the two joining points between Milton and Oakville, it's really 25 and it's Trafalgar. There's not a lot that's being in between. Eventually you're going to see James Snow probably join up with Nayagawa, but those are really your corridors. So public transit, those kind of things, the road exposure could be a very good thing. So anyways, that's just a little something extra, and if you have any questions, just give us a call about any of today's homes, or if you want to see anything in today's list, then we'd be glad to do it for you. So have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.